kalau kita amalkan ni, insya-Allah ada keberkatan. Produk kita halal thayyiban bukan saja untuk Malaysia tetapi juga untuk ekspor. Ekspor saya sekarang ni hanya 20%. Majoritinya masih lagi di Malaysia. Kerana saya yakin insya-Allah syarikat yang ada kapasiti lebih kurang 5 juta liter satu bulan. Saya punya kapasiti sekarang 5 juta liter satu bulan. Tak ramai Bumi Putra Muslim yang ada fasiliti tu. Dan ini satu insya-Allah kalau dikatakan jihad untuk syarikat saya dan diri saya. Cuma cabaran kalau bercakap dengan sekolah, kita kena bagi benda yang ada nutrition. Memang kita asalnya soft drink, kita sedar soft drink ni sugar and flavor. Sebab tu akhir-akhir ini syarikat telah mengeluarkan nutrition drink yang ada value added component, bagus untuk anak-anak kita yang kita sedang lancarkan, dan insya-Allah kita akan pergiatkan promosi itu ke target group supaya bukan sahaja mereka dapat halal thayyiban produk tetapi nutrition insya-Allah. Wallahu a'lam.
Saya Ridwan kepada Dewan Perdagangan Islam. Akan tanya kepada speaker, I think very excellent view that we get from the public. Cuma my question ada dua. Nombor satu, kebanyakan usahawan sekarang when they want to go export, the problem they face is fund. Although it's not the fund issue we're talking now, but that is the first problem. Tapi I nampak macam Tuan Haji tadi, how do you think that is not the bigger obstacle, but the bucket so big up there? Because in terms of support, saya nampak Matrade a lot of support. Because sometimes bila nak support ni, saya tanya bila want to go to, I'm also doing a program for next one to Singapore. Bila kita nak charge sikit, people cost. So how to distract people and see the big business potential out there. Saya nampak lagi satu currency sekarang compare outside is much better to do export than the local. So I minta advice on that aspect.
Baik, Pak Haji. So, funding money problem.
Saya bersetuju bahawa untuk mendapatkan funding ini, walaupun dalam forum macam-macam forum, minta maaf lah kawan-kawan kita belaka orang bank mengatakan mudah akses dan sebagainya. Saya tertarik untuk bawa everybody attention. Negara kita, minister tadi cakap bahawa entrepreneur, businessman, terutama dalam keadaan sekarang kena berani ambil risiko. Tetapi persoalannya bankers. I not like to share a little bit of risk in existing entrepreneur. I think that's not match. I mean, of course, business itself talk about risiko. Tapi bankers, they want to have a real comfort level baru extend the funding. Itu satu. Yang kedua, saya ulang lagi bahawa walaupun saya sudah hampir 20 tahun berniaga tak payah sebutlah. Kehidupan ada jatuh, ada bangun. Bankers tak nak dengar cerita problem. They want to hear nice story. Saya selalu cakap, nice story ni malaikat je. Kalau selagi manusia, dia akan ada isu-isu bad fall, problem, tak boleh perform dan sebagainya. Yang ketiga, yang saya nak tekankan, mungkin kuat sikit suara, is fund yang telah lulus, kadang-kadang disbursement begitu lambat. Saya tahun lepas, saya tak banyak lah, rugi lebih kurang 4.5 juta orders kerana lambat funding.
Nak pergi negeri China buat expo, saya tanya banyak orang cara nak pergi negeri China. Satu, nak pergi negeri China kena buat visa, kan? Kena duit juga tu. Buat visa pergi ke negeri China, sampai ke Nanling, dia kena naik flight. Saya duduk Kota Baru ni, Kota Baru KL tunggu flight pergi ke Guangzhou tunggu flight pergi ke Nanling. Tak pandai ekspor boh, sendiri tak pernah naik kapal nak pergi China tu, nak jual barang, macam mana tak? Okey, jadi lo ni saya boleh pesan abang, kita kongsi. Sebab hari ni yang kita duduk di Matrade sini, saya pun ada cadangan Matrade. Ramai industri super kita yang kecil-kecil, kita tak berani nak tumbik. Baru ni saya pergi Lingxia, saya nak dapat barang-barang produk halal. Saya jumpa duta Lingxia, Cina Muslim. 35%. Dia semua nak barang produk halal. Itu saya cakap. Habis, ya, you punya produk sudah sampai ke Malaysia? Belum. Jadi saya nak bawa dia pergi ni. Jadi hotdog bawah ni nak pergi ke tak? No. Hot tu tadi tanya ni nak pergi, tu pergi. Ni. Nak ni. Panak ni kita jumpa Datuk Abezu kita lah. Ikut Matrade, organize. Jangan sore lagi. Kita booking dengan Matrade 20 booth. Matrade. Kita pergi 50 company. Jimat lah. Satu booth 8,000. Kita jimat. Jangan satu orang ambil satu booth besar-besar 5 hari tak laku. Bukan nak pergi kencing tak ada. Ramai orang nak beli nak pergi kencing tak lagi. Habis tu hari ni suruh saya cerita sebab you pergi sana 5 hari ada kencing ke tak? Malas kencing. Betul tu. Pagi sampai petang tak ada nak kencing. Sebab terlalu amal. Laku. Habis barang jual. Tapi hari ni kawan yang kita duduk sini, ramai yang tanya, kita macam mana nak pergi? Betul tak? Nak pergi pun tak tahu. Sebab ni. Okey, itulah saya berminat hari ni datang sini nak gabung dengan, biarlah Dewan Pengarah Cina, orang Melayu, orang India. Kita kena pergi. Kena ekspor. Tak ada orang negeri Cina, Melayu kita pandai kecek. Dia kecek Melayu. Supaya tadi Abezu kecek kawan saya, ni hao. Orang Cina tanya, Abezu Cina ke Melayu? Tak ada dah. You pergi negeri Cina, sekarang sampai ke airport, kalau dia nampak Malaysia mari, dia sudah bercakap, selamat datang. Ay, Cina ni. Okey, jadi bang, jangan takut bang. Ni ada, you nak air ada, nak sarang burung ada, nak kopi ada, semua kongsi. Kita sewa satu booth, jual 10 barang. Jangan soal satu. Okey, boleh bang?
I have a question for Mr. Kandia. We are going to sign the TPPA reportedly in February in New Zealand. Under the TPPA, is there any issues with IPR as far as Malaysia's compliance is concerned? Would there be a problem for our exporters or people coming inside?
Thank you. No, as far as Malaysia is concerned, Malaysia is going to sign TPPA subject to Parliament approval. But our regulations on intellectual rights are in compliance with the TRIPS requirements because we are compliant under the TRIPS agreement on the WTO. They are generally in compliance with the TPPA requirements. I don't see any issues.
Not a problem, huh? Okay.
No problem.
So, any more questions before we go to the second session? Last call. Everybody? Okay. On that note, we'll end the first session. I'd like to say thank you very much to our three gentlemen and our ladies for their wonderful presentation. Thank you, gentlemen. I will see you in a few moments' time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, okay. Can I have my colleagues for the second session, calling Mr. Adi Faiz Adam Adnan from Strand Aerospace Malaysia. Sila. Mr. Mag Nan Boon.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm pleased to see there's still quite a number of you here, and I think you've all been waiting for this moment to hear what we have to say. I have a very difficult challenge today to explain to you what we do. Mr. Mikhail, I know I've been given 10 minutes, but I may take slightly bit longer because the story I have to tell is an industry story. What I have to explain to you today is what Strand Aerospace Malaysia does. And it's not an easy thing to answer because we don't have any products. Okay? The name aerospace resides in our company name, but we don't have any hangars. We don't even have access to aircraft. So the typical questions that come to me are, what do you do then? Because if you don't manufacture a product, you don't service the aircraft, you don't sell airplanes, so what do you do? Essentially, we are an engineering services provider. That means that we provide design and engineering services for anyone that needs it. But before I can tell you that story, let me spend a few minutes to explain what the industry is going through at the moment, because aerospace, as you know, in the Rancangan Malaysia ke-11, the 11th Malaysia Plan, has been highlighted as a very key industry to drive our economy for the next few years, right? And it's all around, centered around the services that we provide, not only for the country, but also that we export, okay? How many of you here have actually flown an aircraft? Because if you have, then most likely you would have flown in one of these airplanes, okay? So the aircraft that you see there, the A380, that's what we call the Super Jumbo, and the slightly smaller A320, and the one below that, if you're lucky enough to fly that, then I'd like to know about it, but that's a military transport. And these are all aircraft that are produced by Airbus, which is a French multinational company or aircraft manufacturer. Okay? During the golden days of aviation, you would often see the queen of the skies, which we call the Boeing 747. And that's a Boeing product together with the 737 and also our 777. And the smaller aircraft that you see at the bottom is the aircraft that you would take if you were taking a flight, say from here to Kota Baru, okay? You see our friend's bird's nest. That's what we call an ATR. In this case, it's an ATR-72, and that's a French-Italian aircraft manufacturer. And now these are all very big companies that make aircraft that we all use every day. But these companies are facing challenges, okay? So I've put up here some infographics. There are a lot of pictures and numbers that go with it. But essentially, what we have is air traffic is increasing. That means that in the last year, 3.5 billion people flew in an airplane. Most of these are repeat passengers, but if you take the number just on face value, that's half the world's population, right? Half the world's population. What it also means is half the world's population has never been on an airplane. And studies have been predicting that in the next 15 years, air traffic will double. Okay? So what are these big companies doing about it? First of all, they have to do a market forecast to understand how many planes they have to make. So for example, Boeing, now you can get this from their Boeing website, what they're predicting is they need 38,000 new airplanes over the next 20 years. And that equates to a dollar value of $5.6 trillion. Yeah? Now, interestingly, 40% of all those airplanes, and when I say single aisle airplanes here, I mean the airplanes like the Air Asia airplanes and the 737 airplanes, right? 40% of them are needed here in our region, in the Asia Pacific region. Okay? Now, what are companies like Airbus and Boeing doing about it? Well, at the moment, did you know that these companies make 42 aircraft single every month? That means by the end of today, 1 or maybe 1.5 complete airplanes will leave Toulouse or Seattle bound for another customer. Tomorrow, the story repeats itself. There'll be a new airplane coming out of these factories. But to cater for the double the expansion of air traffic, this is not enough. And in the next 3 years, Airbus have predicted that they need to go to 60, rate 60, which means that they need to produce 1.5 times as many. That means every day 2 aircraft will come out. Right? But what they're saying is that's still not enough. So these OEMs, as we call it, original equipment manufacturers, people like Airbus and Boeing, they are facing real struggles. The supply chain is also facing real struggles. And the supply chain here, I mean not just the tier 1s and the tier 2s, but the tier 3s and the tier 4s that produce parts, metallic parts, composite parts. And a lot of these companies in Malaysia that are involved in aerospace, they come from the tier 3s and tier 4s. Right? And they are facing problems of not enough capacity to produce these parts. The other thing is, Boeing and Airbus asked the passengers, what is it that you want from these airplanes? Right? Apa yang you nak sebenarnya? So what they said was, they want more fuel-efficient aircraft, they want quieter airplanes, they want bigger seats, but also they want it a lot cheaper, right? And partly that's our fault as well, because when we book flights, we go and find the most cost-effective ones. So we go to the AirAsia sales, the Flight sales, the MAS sales, the Mata fares. But what we don't realize is, this puts a strain on people that produce the aircraft. And the biggest challenge here is, how do we make these planes with more technology and fly quieter, but also cost less? Okay? So, the OEM's challenges: realizing tomorrow's technology today, increasing production rates at the same quality, maintaining the knowledge, and streamlining efficiency in the supply chain. Now, these challenges are being cascaded down to the supply chain. That means everyone from the tier 1, tier 2 to tier 3, they're all feeling it, right? And we have to react. Okay, those are the challenges facing the industry at the moment. But I'd like to go through a bit in terms of what is it that the supply chain is actually producing. So it gives you an idea of the products that we have in Malaysia. The Airbus supply chain is a global one. Did you know that these parts, yeah, are actually made in Malaysia? By these companies? Okay, so the one that shows the wing, that's what we call the fixed leading edge. So that's the frontmost part of the wing. And the panels on that, they're made of composite. And they come from Batu Berendam in Melaka, from a company called CTRM. They also make it for the A380. Those are shipped to a place in Subang, near the airport, to a company called Spirit Aero Systems, where they are assembled with other parts of the front of the wing, and then they are shipped to the UK, where the whole wing is put together. And the whole wing, you might have seen the documentaries on National Geographic and YouTube, where that whole wing is transported then to Toulouse for the final assembly. But it all begins from a factory in Batu Berendam. Right? And around that, you've got all your belacan sellers as well. And that's where it starts. Right? And the other components, like the picture of that landing gear, right? The disc brakes. The disc brakes for those landing gears are actually coming from Sendayan in Negeri Sembilan. Right? And the latest piece of news, that engine, that green part of the engine, we call it the fan casing. It's the most important part of the engine because it connects the engine to the wing. UMW have signed an agreement with Rolls-Royce to manufacture that fan casing here in Malaysia. Okay. And all this is pointing to the OEM challenges that I've just mentioned, because they want to expand their supply chain from tier 1 up to tier 4, but also not just expand in terms of capacity, but also in terms of the complexity of the parts. Which means that in order for us to differentiate ourselves, we need to move higher up the value chain. Now, why do I say that? This morning, the Honorable Datuk Sri Mustafa Mohamad mentioned that India was one of the is the most large, the fastest growing market in the world at the moment. But this morning as well on BFM on the way here, the second most fastest growing market, interestingly, is Vietnam. Right? And Vietnam is starting to produce aerospace components, together with Thailand, Philippines, and Indonesia. There is a supply chain there at the moment. Okay? So if we are not careful, if we remain as a, shall we say, a low complexity, if we compete on price, soon enough these countries will outbid us. And the government, working with industry, so Strand has very close collaborations with people like Matrade, AT, MIDA, SME Corp. The country's strategy going forward, and this is highlighted in the Economic Transformation Program, but also in the National Aerospace Blueprint, is to move into higher complexity parts and also into knowledge services. So that's high-end, high-value manufacturing parts, so more complex parts, but also knowledge services. Right? Knowledge services means using your brain and producing ideas, producing designs, producing justifications for problems, and basically using your brain to problem solve the complex problems that the OEM has. Okay? Now let me just focus on this part of the wing. Okay? The fixed leading edge. Now, what are the different stages of this part actually getting produced? So first we start with the design. Okay, you come up with a concept. Then you build and you assemble the part. Then you deliver the part. Like I explained, it's like a piece of Lego. Yeah, when you want to build pieces of Lego, you start with smaller pieces and then you gradually move your way up to larger pieces. And then you deliver the aircraft to people like Malaysian Airlines, who then operate. Now, when I say operate here, they fly the aircraft, they also maintain the aircraft. So that's the complete design. That's the complete process. And these are the typical jobs that are associated with that process. Okay, and some of you here may have been lucky enough to, or been exposed to these jobs, or know someone who does this kind of jobs. But just to highlight, these are the jobs, what we call engineering services roles. That means that they don't necessarily are involved with producing a product, but producing or problem solving using their skills. And this is what Strand is. Strand is an engineering services company. Okay? We at Strand have essentially been involved in every single Airbus aircraft design that has ever left the Toulouse factory. So from the wings of the A380 to the wings of the A350 to the fuselage parts of the A320 and even on the A400M, which is a new military transport aircraft that our Royal Malaysian Air Force have bought 4. 2 are currently now in Subang and they're waiting for another 2 to arrive later this year, next year. I personally, so by training I am an engineer, but now I look after the business development side of Strand and the customers. I personally signed off the reports for parts of the wing on the A400M. And Airbus have given me the authority to do that. And I was one of the youngest people able to do that, and certainly the first Malaysian in my field to be able to do that. And I am not alone. There are many people like me in Strand, and we are developing a lot more engineers to be of that standard. Right? Currently, we have 151 engineers, all Malaysian engineers, and by the end of this year, we'll be 200 engineers. And the work that we do, okay, again, I keep being asked this question, what are the products that you produce? Well, I would say that a lot of things that we do is mostly producing reports, calculations, but also design, right? And these are some of the designs that our engineers have been involved with. Okay? And this is our, shall we say, our footprint. So these are our customers, our partners, and also people like Airbus where we have strategic collaborations with. Our first contract was actually to service the A380 on, it was a UK contract. So that was the very first contract that we started in 2006. So from day one, we've already been exporting. Right? And alhamdulillah, together with Matrade as well, we've expanded, notably to countries like Germany, where we went on a marketing mission with Matrade and we were introduced to one of the tier 1 companies there, Freshell Engineering. And they gave us a contract, again, for the A350, and that stays until today. And we have now expanded into Japan, and we have collaborations in South Africa and Turkey as well. But ironically, what we found is the growth in engineering services, or services in general, is actually here in Malaysia. A lot of our recent customers are people like UMW, where we provided consultancy for Rolls-Royce, Spirit, CTRM. But also, you can see that there are some people who don't have anything to do with aerospace. People like SPOMI, right? Like Mitsubishi Rail, like MRCD, right? So what we found is these people are looking for high-end solutions, but they're looking for local solutions. Because up to this day, we still buy a lot of design from outside. Right? But I think today you realize that there is a Malaysian solution, there is a Malaysian company that has international pedigree, right, to do these kind of things. In fact, we are quite well known in Europe, especially in Germany, because in Germany, our name, Strand, yeah? If you're an American, you say Strand, but if you're German, you say Strand. Strand in German, the direct translation is beach. So whenever I go over there, I say, Adi and the Beach Boys are there. So we are quite well known. And we are known not just for individuals, but because of collectively the quality that we produce. Okay? And these are our solutions. So we have an aerospace solution, a non-aerospace solution to cater for industries here in Malaysia, what we call mechanical. Infrastructure, okay, there's quite a lot going on now in terms of using aerospace technology in buildings. The CIDB will be making BIM, what they call Building Information Modeling, mandatory from 2016. And Strand is working very extensively on a number of projects in BIM. Okay? Also in quality and IT, consultancies, and also training. Okay? So that's it. That's the story of Strand. We wouldn't have got here without the help of government agencies, but essentially it's a Malaysian story, and I hope that this story spreads and continues. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to be here today, and I've been wondering what to talk about. I mean, when I look at the title, Export Day, what does it mean? And what does it mean to everyone in this room and to anyone who has an entrepreneurial spirit? I'd like to start off by going back a bit to my early days of when I graduated as an engineer. First thing that I was made to do was, well, my old man told me, you don't have a holiday to come back and work, get the next flight back, come back and work. I said, look, I'll let take some time off. He said, no, you come back and work, so I'm much other to work. But that's not the point. The point is, that is the start of a training that I had. And over the years as an engineer, I work as a civil engineer, but basically, as a civil engineer, you are very one-track minded. What do you do if you are only an engineer? That means you design and you build. So, what then? Is that the future? Is that the end of what you want to do? So, somewhere along the line, we started Mohiba as a pure construction company. It took us a while to build up the company. We started it very small. Our first job is the building of a port in Port Klang. That was way back in 1974. And from there, we started to learn through our joint venture and collaboration with others, our marine engineering expertise. We stuck with that for many years as a marine specialist. And over the years, we diversify a bit into a bit of more general engineering. But it took us a long time, and during this period, we found that as we are growing, there's always a limit and capacity to what we can do as a company in Malaysia. You've got to keep in mind that this way back in the 70s when Malaysian engineering companies or construction companies are more or less dominated by foreign companies. And for a Malaysian company to be established, there are very, very few. So that job, of course, with the port, who was kind enough to give us a chance, we had to team up with a foreign company. We learned. So we went on and built up, and by year 1995, we listed Muhiba. I was one of 11 founders of the company. Today, a major part of our founders are still, founding shareholders are still with us in the company. And when we listed the company in 1995, the board and the management took a very major decision. The decision was that, is construction alone a good enough base for us to grow? Is Malaysia sufficient for us to keep us growing? And the board came out with the decision that both the product that we had, which was basically civil engineering construction, and the base of our operation, Malaysia, is insufficient to grow in the future. We then took a decision that we had to expand our base in terms of market base, which is the product, and we had to diversify our geographical spread from just purely being a Malaysian company. And from that year onwards, we started to explore opportunities. We started to explore other countries. We started with ASEAN. At that time, the government was leading a lot of Malaysian businessmen abroad, and the thought and the government was coming behind Malaysian companies, and it was something, and because of that, the opportunity to grow was there. The support of the government is one of the key factors that Muhiba grew to what it is today. The support of government in the sense that we had a government fully behind us, people like Matrade, who were the prime drivers of what we are today. We found that when we spoke to the government and said that, look, we want to go to this country, say, yes, we are going on a mission, come with us. When we go on a mission, we spoke to the minister, we spoke to the prime minister, we identified this thing, what can we do? And the ministers took it up to speak to their counterpart in the respective countries. And that gave us a head start to enter the country. I mean, an example today of one of these is way back in 1995, and our first mission that we followed the government was to Cambodia. And at that time, Cambodia was, I think it's a country you wouldn't dare to go in, people carrying guns, and you feel that you're even worried to walk on the street alone. But we saw an opportunity there, that the airport was very run down. It was just a shack. It was doing about 250,000 packs a year. So we spoke to our Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister took it upon himself and our Minister then to speak to the counterpart in Cambodia. And from there, we started negotiating, we started bidding, and eventually we got the airport. Today, we own and operate the Cambodian airport. Now, I'm telling you, the airport, and of course we've grown it today. If you have been to Cambodia, you'll see that the Phnom Penh airport, the Siem Reap airport are something that grew from very, very small base to what it is today. 250,000 passengers. Today we are doing about 6 million passengers. And we started with a turnover of million today US. Today we are turnover in their power operation alone is about 130 million US. So I mean this is telling you a story of how our company grew, not because because we had the support of the Malaysian government. And what I'm trying to tell you is this: are we so reliant on us? No. The government was the start of you being able to meet someone that you can talk to on the other side that will listen to you.